Hey Faraday, Dave Olkowetsky with Artisan Revere here. Thank you so much for your support. Showing our knives in your videos is incredibly helpful for us. We're just a small little company based in Idaho. I'm in California. I moved from the city. I lived in New York for, I don't even know, 15 years or something like that. I just moved to Southern California 2 months ago just to try to learn to surf. My guys are all in Idaho, and we have parts of the supply chain that are in Michigan, Pennsylvania, and New York, and of course our steel, as you probably know, comes from Sweden. So I'm doing a little bit of a unique video for you. I do a video for every single customer who buys a chef knife from us, and I'll continue to do that for as long as I can for the paring knives, and basically the goal is to just have a little bit more of an intimate relationship with all of our customers, and I really try to keep the company pretty small as we sort of get through all of our growing pains and develop our full line. So you're getting our first paring knife. Here's your knife. And what I do for every customer is I give them a quick tutorial on knife care. I'll do that for you as well, because some things, surprisingly, they don't teach in cooking school that we as knife makers see when we're fixing up blades for people who send them in for a little extra care. And then I'm going to perform a QC inspection. This is going to be the first ever QC inspection I've done on a paring knife, so I'm excited. Okay, so first things first, knife care. Like I said, you probably know most of this. Obviously, never put a high-end knife in the dishwasher. There's a plethora of reasons. Number one, the handle. You will actually pull out all of the epoxy from the handle. Number two, the blade, the edge itself. If the edge hits up against a piece of ceramic or a piece of glass, ceramic and glass are harder than steel. Most people don't know that, but it's true. You can easily chip the edge that way. Even if you are able to put the blade into the dishwasher and protect the edge, you're still going to perform the water itself and the abrasives of the chemicals that go into the dishwasher soap are so bad for your blade. You're talking about 200-degree temperatures. You're not going to actually perform a true heat treatment, but it's not good. You're going to soften steel a little bit. You're going to really remove all the moisture from the handle. It's kind of nasty. So obviously, I'm sure you know, no dishwasher. Number two, we recommend a hone if you're if you're a professional cook and obviously you are, and you're doing an 8-hour shift or an 8 hours worth of cooking or whatever it is. We recommend a light hone. So I'm going to use one of our prototype knives. It's made out of wood, just to show the proper honing technique. Most people in cooking schools are taught this incorrectly. Butchers do it incorrectly. So here are some of the wrong ways. Out like this. This is wrong because if somebody's in front of you, you could accidentally hit them. It's also not particularly good in terms of angle control. Angle control is actually surprisingly important here. Another thing that we've seen is people going in. We don't like this for numerous reasons. Number one, you actually wind up hitting your edge up against the finger guard. Obviously, that's really deleterious to your blade. The right way to do it, the best way to do it that we like to recommend to people is take the honing rod, place it into a cutting board or whatever, take the back of the blade, the heel of the blade, and move it slowly, gently. Try to keep a consistent angle, that's pretty important. Do this about five times per side. I like to use ceramic over steel as a honing rod. Ceramic is a higher Rockwell hardness. It's also smoother, so you're not going to potentially create any microchipping, and if you already have microchipping on the blade, you're not going to increase the dimension of the microchipping. So those are probably the two most important things. Aside from that, another thing that we've seen a lot of chefs do, more so even than home cooks, is with if they're using a chef knife, obviously not the paring knife, they're cutting and then they'll scoop. They'll scrape and scoop using the cutting edge of the blade. Don't do that. You want to use the back of the blade or use a bench scraper. The reason is you're actually causing damage to the cutting edge as you scrape. So if you want to increase the edge longevity of your blades, don't scrape with the cutting edge. You can scrape with the spine of the blade. So this is the spine, this is the edge, I'm sure you know. Cool, and then what else? Oh yeah, food grade mineral oil. Elmax steel is a stainless steel. It has 18% chromium. There is adequate free chromium in it for it to be considered stainless. However, because it is such a high carbon content, this is a 3% carbon, or sorry, a 1.7% carbon content steel. So the steel's mostly coming out of Germany, or like in the 0.5 to 0.7 range. So we're literally triple what most of the German steels are. The carbide structure is based on the ratio between carbon and chromium. So the result is, despite the fact that we have adequate free chromium to be stainless, it is not as stainless as some other knives. So what that means is our knives need to be washed and dried completely. The drying obviously is very important to ensure that there's no potential corrosion or rust. None of my knives have ever rusted in my house. I'm not perfect about drying and washing right away, but we've had in like maybe 1,000 orders, maybe 2 or 3 customers ask me about discoloration. So it's possible, but again, anything's possible, but just make sure you dry fully. Leather sheaths are fine for storage. If you're going to do long-term storage, like if you're not going to touch your knife for a month or 2 months or whatever, we recommend making sure it's bone dry, the blade itself, prior to placing it in here, because leather retains moisture, and moisture is the enemy of steel. The other thing that I was going to say, mineral oil is amazing, as you probably know this, for all wood, for stainless steel, honestly for just about anything. I like to, every so often, put a drop of food-grade mineral oil onto the handle, rub it in with like a terry cloth or a paper towel. I do the same thing for the cutting edge, especially if I'm putting it away for a while. The best way to store your knives is on the knife rack. I don't have one here. The reason is, if you're storing it in a block, every time you're putting it into the block, that wood is grinding, sort of grinding, but basically eroding the cutting edge a little bit. So you can literally extend your your edge life, by anywhere from 30 to 50%, I've seen, by not using a cutting board, or a knife block, but instead putting it up onto a knife magnet. So let's say my hand is the magnet. The right way to do it is to put the spine up against the magnet and then rotate. And then when you're going to take it off, you rotate again to get it to the spine, and then you remove it this way. You never want contact with the edge. Okay, that's it for knife care. I've also got an article that I wrote in Gear Patrol, which I'll send you, that includes like a more detailed version of the knife care, what we call the Knife Care Bible. Let's do your QC inspection. So, first things first. I'm going to take your knife and I'm going to put my hands on the handle, and I'm going to feel the handle and make sure that your pins are flush with the handle, and they are. This is really, really high quality. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to inspect the handle, make sure that that there's no epoxy leak between the scales and the tang, and there isn't any. This is really, really well done. That's actually surprisingly hard to do, by the way, to make sure that it's not, that there's no leak or extra epoxy. Sweet. All right, next I'm going to put the knife in my hands. I'm going to feel it just to make sure that I'm getting, that there are no rough edges, nothing. So basically, we like to say there should only be one sharp edge on a knife, and that's the cutting edge. A lot of other knife makers will have a rough spine or like a lot of rough spots on the handle. We hate that. Like, it's so unergonomic. It's mind-boggling to me that people don't do this right. Anyways, so I'm checking this. It's perfect. It's really, really well done. Next thing I do is I like to inspect the spine of the blade. And what I'm doing is I'm making sure that it's not rough at all. So as I'm sure you know, as a professional cook, if you're working the line for 8 hours, 12 hours, whatever it is, you're going to get a callus on your index finger from your pinch grip, and you're also potentially going to get a callus on your middle finger from your pinch grip. For a chef knife, it's more relevant for a chef knife than for a paring knife, obviously, but we round off, as you probably know, the spine of our blade and what's called the choil of our blade. We do that for our paring knife as well. So that's what I just inspected, and that is perfect. For a chef knife, I usually do a balance test. It obviously doesn't make sense to do for a paring knife, but I will do a test where I'm literally just hooking my middle finger underneath into the choil area, and gripping it and making sure that it feels right, that I can easily get my middle finger around, that I can maneuver. Yeah, it's great. All right, sweet. Next, we're gonna do a sharpness test. So actually, we're gonna do a few sharpness tests. So this is the fingernail test. One, it's totally safe to do. You don't have to worry about this. You can literally just put the edge into your fingernail, and your fingernail should stop it from sliding down. That'll tell you if your edge has a lot of grip. This has a lot of grip. So that's super. Let me find a piece of magazine paper, and I will do our next test, which is, this is used, but it looks fine. So we're just gonna test it on magazine paper. Oh yeah, like butter, like butter. All right, so listen, this is an awesome knife. I'm really excited to get it out to you. I appreciate your support. Thank you so much, and enjoy the knife. Oh, and you're getting our first boxes too. So our box is almost perfect. There's like a small thing that I'm not happy with. We basically, this is a proof box. This is the final. This is literally the third proof box. It's the final one. They screwed up our booklet a little bit, but whatever. All the information's there. It's just in funky order. I'm really excited to get this out to you. I hope you love it. Thank you so much. All right, bye.